Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with the review for Underground Season 2, Episode 9. Let's get to it, shall we? Alright, you guys, so this episode, things are definitely coming to a head. We see Kato. He's in the safe house, remember? And he's snooping around. Not quite sure what he's looking for just yet. But he's walking around the safe house, trying to look like the docile Negro. And then when he finally makes it to George's office, he's snooping through her desk, and Harriet Tubman catches him. What you doing here? He got all these questions for her, and she answers them. And then she was like, I didn't answer 2 of your questions. You ain't even answered my 1. What are you doing here? He says something that he's looking for. Did he say he was looking for Elizabeth or George? And she was like, I believe she's in the kitchen. All right, but she giving him her good eye. She don't trust a nigga. And you right, Harriet, you should not trust him. He asks her, what is her name? And she just looks at him and says, Minty. Now he goes back to Patty, and she was just like, you been gone 3 fucking days and you ain't came up with nothing. He's like, I'm telling you, the person that I saw fits the description of Harriet Tubman. She was like, Harriet Tubman is a notorious slave freer, okay? Do you believe that she would be up in somebody's damn house sweeping floors in Virginia? I don't think so. I know one damn thing. You better come up with something. I'm going to kill your ass. So then he leaps for this knife, and, her boys jump up with the gun like he's about to do something to her. But to show, I guess, his dedication and the fact that he really means business here, he slits his wrist. I was like, really? We really got, the not just the wrist, Nick. I'm talking about the whole fucking forearm, downwards. Usually you bleed out when you catch a vein and cut all the way down like that. Anyway, real dramatic. But I guess that was to prove to her that he meant business and that he was going to bring her the big fish that is Harriet Tubman. Now, it was confusing because it took me a minute to realize that we was flashing back and forth for a second there, because I was just like, did my TV start tripping? Okay, the weather was kind of bad in Atlanta yesterday, so I was just like, did the shit rewind or not? But anyway, let me tell you what happened. Next thing, we see him in the bed, and we see Elizabeth tending to him, and they're having a discussion. And they're talking about what brought them to this common spot. She tells him that her husband was shot in the head right in front of her, and that she's mad, that she's angry, she wants to do something. He was like, that's nothing like. And she says, fear. She said, yeah, fear is what's always at the top of everything. Okay, and I don't know what to do with it. He said, oh no, what you do is you suck it in and then you push it out, because that kind of fear cannot sit still. That type of tangible energy has to be dealt with. So you give the shit back to them just like they gave it to you, okay? You become the monster that came to eat you. So now he done put it in her head real good that, fed into her rage. Next scene, we see Elizabeth leaving with a lantern, okay? It's the middle of the night, and Kato is following her out to wherever she's going. I had no idea where she was going, and evidently Kato didn't know either. He grabs a lantern and he follows her down the road. He sees a barn that's on fire, and he rushes into the fire, and he sees Elizabeth knocked out on the floor. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I was so confused. Then we see Kato in the water, and he's cleansing himself off in the lake. And Patty and her boys pull up, and he just walks, he walks out. Now, I did notice that Patty was paying attention to old Ding Ding there. I said, Patty, you ain't nothing but a hoe. But anyway, Patty is looking at him, and he says, you got 2 days. I was like, I am so lost. What is going on here? Then the next scene, we see Kato. Now it looks like he's walking around and he's fine. As a matter of fact, he's in the exact same clothes that he had on earlier when he was acting as the docile Negro trying to find, I assume, George's office. Elizabeth is working at the front desk, and a man walks in. She notices that he has a burn on his hand. That is the same burn on the hand of the persons that had kidnapped her and the man when they were going through the woods going to go see Harriet Tubman talk. She recognizes him immediately. She asks him what is his name, and he says his name is John Hawk. And she looks at him like, motherfucker, you got your nerve coming here? And he's like, we've been keeping our eye on you, okay? You obviously not smart, just like your damn husband. And of course that pisses Elizabeth off. She wants to kill him. When she goes and tells Georgia, like, we got to do something. He just coming in here rolling up all willy-nilly like he bad. We can't have that happen. And Georgia was like, no. We're not going to do that. Okay, you guys know that Georgia is all peace, 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 peace. And Elizabeth is like, fight, 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 fight. So you are seeing that these two are starting to split ideals and separate. The end result is what they both want, but the means is very different. Okay, so Elizabeth was like, yeah, you all about this peace, but when I first came here, you gave me a gun. Georgia says, yeah, I gave you a gun to protect yourself, not to go out looking for trouble. You're doing too much. You are not invincible. You're going to end up getting yourself killed out there. Then the very next scene again, we see Kato in the bed and Elizabeth tending to his slit wrist again. And I was like, what? I mean, literally, I stopped my TV. I rewound it. I kept on going back and forth like, did something happen here? But I was just like, fine, let me just, whatever. I let it play. It's the exact same scene. They're talking about why they're there at the same place. She talks about her husband getting shot in the head. He tells her about, making the fear, consume her and, be the monster that came to eat you. Okay, all of that, right? We see him get up in the middle of the night, follow Elizabeth out of the house, okay, grab the lantern. We see Elizabeth go down to this barn. Now we see that she actually goes to John Hawk's barn and she sets it on fire. Once she's walking out, trying to leave the scene of the crime, John Hawk's son, he comes running up and he thinks that his mother is in the barn. So he's going, Mom, and he rushes into the barn to try to save her. Elizabeth is walking away, but then she feels bad that the little boy is in there. So she goes back in there while the fire is raging and the smoke consumes her and she passes out. Now, Kato, he had gotten up and went to see what she was doing, remember? So he goes into the barn and he sees her. He then saves her, pulls her out of the fire. We see the little boy is burned severely, and Georgia was like, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I was afraid of. And Elizabeth was like, yeah, it's too bad that happened, but you know what? He just like his racist ass daddy. All right, he gonna grow up to be just like his racist ass daddy. So I can't worry too much about whether or not this boy just got burned up in the fire. And Georgia says, well, see, that's the whole problem, though. We don't know if he would have been just like his father. Okay, we could have tried to educate him and hope that he would take a different path. Okay, well, Elizabeth ain't got time for hopes. Her reality is these racist ass people down here are not really trying to listen, and if we gotta sacrifice a little white kid on on the strength of the fact that we want to abolish slavery, then so be it. All right, Georgia was just like, listen, the fact that you feel that way is the reason why you probably can't stay in my house any longer. You're dangerous and I don't need your type of energy. So the inevitable split of Georgia and Elizabeth is upon us. Now, Georgia tells Harriet all that happened. The fact that Elizabeth had slapped John Hawk. I forgot to tell you guys that. And Harriet was like, good girl. Okay. She's like, please don't tell her that. Okay. Because we already got enough problems with her already wanting to burn up, folks' property and doing all of this. Anyway, Harriet was like, okay, well, she's about to go down to where Noah and Rosalie are. Okay. So she's about to hit the road and, Georgia's worried about her. Gosh, you're going all that way by yourself. And, she's just like, I'm never by myself. So then we see scenes of Harriet Tubman making her way down to Georgia, okay, and hiding out in the woods, her and her horse and her wagon, and, trying to be inconspicuous when she's in towns where I guess they have free black people. She is definitely on her way. We even get a scene when she goes and she finds a church and she has a talk with God and basically telling them that even though these white men are educated that they are foolish, even still she is doubtful that she should be the person that is chosen to lead. Okay, so while she does put forth this God is always with me and I can do it stance with everybody around her, she herself has fear inside that she's not always doing the right thing. So it was nice to see that side of Harriet and the fact that she is, realizes that she is not invincible. And I think having that fear that they've talked about throughout this whole episode is something that you have to kind of push you forward in your journey. But she leaves the church and she finally makes it to where Noah and Rosalie are. Now, Noah and Rosalie are hiding pretty much just next door to the house that they just burned down, master and mistress's house. The lady is saying, look, I did not know that y'all was doing all this shit. Y'all cannot stay here. They're going to be looking for you, and I don't need that kind of trouble. Noah was just like, listen, you hid black people before, huh? And you ain't never got caught, right? So why should you get caught this time? But it looks like you need money around here. We got money. Now, if we leave, the money leave with us. Okay, so you might want to rethink that. So she was just like, okay, well, listen, you guys can stay here. I want you guys to keep a low profile. I don't need no shit. They agree. That's what they will do. Cora is mad. This is the idea of a safe place. I'm not trying to be up here right next door. They gonna come in and kill us. What if they look for us? Noah's like, if they looking for us, then we gonna run to the river. And then, Rosalie was like, no, we ain't doing that. We sticking to the plan that we had. Okay, we're gonna make it out of here safe. Okay, Rosalie is still on that. We gonna do this no matter what. Noah looks at Rosalie and he's like, how you feeling? Concerned about her and his baby. She says, I think it's a boy, and they're about to start talking. And then Cora's like, your brother about to wake up. Look like he gonna give y'all some hell. Later on that night, though, when everybody is asleep, we hear some gunshots. Okay, Noah and Rosalie jump up. Okay, they are hidden somewhere in this room. Actually, they are hidden upstairs. I guess there's a false ceiling up there. And you see Cora. She comes running into the room and they shoot her in the back, right underneath where Rosalie is looking down at her. Cora looks up at her and she's bleeding out. The people that shot her drag her out, but they never see that Noah and Rosalie are right up above them. But I think we can all agree that the block is hot. It is damn time to get the hell up out of there. So now they're trying to get to this train to Ohio. They're hiding underneath in a wagon. It's Rosalie, Noah, and James. Surprisingly, James is kind of with the program. I guess he realizes that he does not have any choice, but I really did expect some some pushback, some preteen assholery, if that's the word I'm looking for. I just expected him to give him a harder time than they did. But they're in this wagon and they're talking about them being on their way to Ohio and how he is going to be able to go to school and he's going to learn how to read. And he says, well, he was able to, he was learning how to read already. Mistress was teaching him, and they were like, it's different. Okay, you're not going to be a slave anymore. You're going to be a free black man. You ain't got to listen to master. You ain't got to listen to nobody. And he says, I'm going to be my own master. And they said, that's right. What did you guys think about his turnaround so quick, though? Do you think that, a kid that is coming from what he is from into what he is going to now would just be like, okay, well, I guess that's what we doing now. Y'all let me know. They make it to Virginia. Noah goes up to Harriet. He's talking to her. Yeah, I hear that you have supernatural powers. You can see the future and float above air and all of that. And she was just like, yeah, they have a discussion about lack of faith, basically. She gets him to admit that at one time he did what he had to do because he believed that he could. No reason to believe that, but he still did. And that he has lost that. Again, I'm sure that overwhelming fear has consumed him. And she was like, you got to get that back. All right, because evidently that's what Rosalie got. The fact that the shit is impossible and you still out here doing it. If you want to be successful in this journey, you're going to have to get that feeling back. So now Harriet then gave Noah a whole lot to think about. So he's very upset. One of the Roxstars had mentioned last week in my comments that they noticed that he kind of rolled his eyes at Rosalie when they pulled off from that house that they blew up, and that he probably was going to have some resentment for Rosalie. And you were 100% right. Now that they are out of immediate danger, it's time for him to get his feelings out. Let Rosalie know how he don't like this shit. You let me give you this ring, stood over there and proclaimed my love for you and said I will follow you everywhere, knowing that your ass was pregnant with my baby. Making me feel bad, don't want me to touch you the whole time that we was on this journey. Okay, I'm feeling like you upset with me when really you was just hiding this pregnancy from me. You didn't put my child in danger and you sacrificed my family for your family. She was just like, no, because I knew that it was going to be successful. I knew we were going to be able to do it. And, James is my family. And he was like, I don't give a fuck about that, Rosalie. I don't give a fuck. What I'm telling you is you didn't give me a choice. Fuck, when I think about it, you treated me like a slave. You know, he got his eyes real big. He looking at her like, you better not touch me right now. I said, girl, sometimes when they get mad like that, you just let them walk out the room, get that steam off, because Rosalie was wrong. She did not tell him that she was pregnant, and he could have lost that one, because he don't have no family. Only family that he has right now is he considers Rosalie his family. But other than that, now he has true bona fide family in her stomach, and that family could have been dead. So he ain't got too much patience for Rosalie right now. They gonna be all right though. But he had to let it be known that I'm not one to be lied to no more. Don't do that shit again. Then we jump over to Daniel. And finally, I told you guys that they were going to wait to the end of the season to get us to understand who he is and what he is, okay? I had even forgot to mention him last week because I had started to just kind of zone him out because I didn't know the connection. But he was blinded last week. So this week he is at his plantation, and the daughter is telling him what's going on. Obviously, they are selling off the slaves. So now it then became dire because Daniel and his family will probably be next. He tells his wife that he got to go and find this John Brown guy. And she was just like, no. You know, you're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're just going to tell Massa that we're going to give him money and we're going to be fine over here and he won't have no problem from us. Okay, he was just like, yeah, you want me to shuck and jive for him too? You know, yes, sir, boss. Whatever you say, boss. I'm tired of doing that. I want to be free. I want my family to stay together. So he is going to make the journey to go and find John Brown. He takes his little money that he's made so far and he goes into town. He's not a free black person, but he is working. He's has like a work visa. That's not what it's called, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So he's able to be with, in town with the white folks because he's working. And so while he's in town and the man stops him, you know, I need to see your papers. And he was like, yeah, I'm working up to so-and-so, but I had to come down here because I need to see a cobbler. My bag is broke. So the man directs him to this cobbler. When he's talking to the cobbler, he tells him that his bag is broke. He needs this done. Making small talk. Once the cobbler is finished with his work and tells him, you know, there's no charge, Daniel goes on and shoots a shot. I need to talk to John Brown. And the man's like, I don't know who you're talking about. He says, listen, I heard that there were 6 cobblers in town. 1 cobbler knew John Brown. I have got to believe that the good Lord has led me to the right cobbler this one time. I need to talk to John Brown. He says, I don't know John Brown. I'm sorry. I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. So when Daniel is walking out, then the cobbler says, wait a minute. And then next scene, we see Daniel. He is at George's and Elizabeth is asking him, how can I help you? So there you have it. Daniel is not Steen's daddy. Daniel is definitely not Harriet Tubman's daddy, which I didn't think anyway. Daniel is going to be integral in the fight with John Brown against the, you know, the people to try to get slavery abolished so him and his family can be free. Next week is the finale. Looking forward to it. I believe that it is going to be a finale that is stressful and probably nothing is resolved. So we getting ready for war, you guys. All right, rock stars, let me get off of here. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox. Everything else I do be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.